One of the stories of the year that's been lost in the cloud of coronavirus bad news has been the drought recovery of some of Australia's regions. According to the New South Wales government, only 0.2% of the state remains in drought conditions after significant rainfall across 2020 helped ease conditions. Ben Shields is the Mayor of Dubbo Council, one of the areas on the way to recovery, and he joins me live from the Central Coast. And I tell you what, it's great to have someone with a sense of humour. Central West, my apologies. Otherwise, Ben, thank you for joining us, and thank you for entering into the spirit of the occasion, because it's been a pretty gloomy year, but you're providing a bit of humour, and thank you for doing so. Welcome.
Now,
Tell us what's going on.
Please don't say I'm not in the Central Coast. Oh, goodness, Dubbo's far much better than the Central Coast. You know?
It is. At the moment, you're not in lockdown for a start, and I noticed on Twitter you said I dragged you back from packing your car to go on holiday, so I feel like a super spreader already. But anyway, look, tell us what's the good news out there?
Well, look, Dubbo is doing absolutely fantastic. We've got a bumper crop this year here in Dubbo. In fact, Roger Fletcher, one of the biggest grain carters in this area, he's actually reporting that he's almost at capacity. He can barely take any more grain coming in. It's such a good problem he's got, is that he's looking at all sorts of traffic control systems where his grain silos are. So the drought is on the way to be broken here. Now, you've always got to remember with drought, though, it takes such a long time to recover, because just because a farmer has got a good year this year, it means he's only paying off a ridiculous amount of debt that he has. So the money's not necessarily around there in the West at the moment, but I tell you what, we're doing very, very well.
Yeah, look, and I guess it's literally the corny cliche, make hay while the sun shines and the rain falls, but how is the China relationship impacting your constituents? Is that an issue yet? Are any of your grain producers running into problems getting into Chinese markets, or have they found alternative sources?
Yeah, not yet. I haven't had too many people talk to me about China and it being a problem. I can tell you now, though, Dubbo, I can't really say much for the rest of the country, but Dubbo's just doing it fantastic. Do you know we've got one of the lowest unemployment rates in the country, 1.4%. Now, if China's having an impact on us, gosh, goodness gracious, I don't know how it could be when we've got an unemployment rate of 1.4%. Everything's ticking along in this part of New South Wales quite good. So I couldn't be more happy with how everything's turning out. Turns out that the closure of the Queensland border has been fantastic for Dubbo. Anastasia's craziness has actually helped us, because a lot of people from Sydney and that has decided to check out our Western Plains Zoo and our old Dubbo Jail and all the awesome things here. So, you know, look, tourism going fantastically here, agriculture's going fantastically here. Everything's pointing in the right direction, finally, for Dubbo. So our housing price increase has been incredible as well.
Wanted to ask you about that. Have you noticed this phenomenon that Bernard Salt has written a heck of a lot about people moving to regional cities because they can now do virtual work? Are you getting a few younger folks who've decided that they can do a better work-life balance in a place like Dubbo's, for instance? Are you noticing that trend?
Absolutely, we are. Yeah, we are, because we've been dragged kicking and screaming realistically into the 21st century when it comes to online workplaces. People can now realistically work from home, and COVID has forced people and employers to understand that you can work from home and still be just as productive. I've seen that even in our council building, where staff went away during the major lockdown. They work from home. Well, it turns out the sky didn't fall in. Things still happen. Work was still done. That's now happening right across the state, and people are deciding to live in a place that's actually affordable, knowing that in Dubbo, you're always 15 minutes away from anything. In fact, I always say if I need to be at work at 9 o'clock in the morning, I'll get in the car at 20 to 9, so I've got 10 minutes spare. You just don't get that in Sydney. The lifestyle here is so much better than a lot of the metro areas, and of course housing is much more affordable. So that means a lot of professionals, they can still do their work based in Sydney, but actually physically be in a great place like Dubbo and live a much happier life.
And I think that, yeah, you don't need to persuade me. I've actually been looking at that option myself, I've got to say, and it's very, very tempting.
Well, Catherine,
look, couple of quick questions.
You come to Dubbo and I'll give you a personal tour. No problem.
You're on. You're on. As long as they don't lock me in the zoo
right,
as an
done.
exhibit on the way out. But look, just a quick one. What about labour shortages? We're hearing a little bit of this in relation to certain crops. Are you folks using more headers and more mechanical means, or have you managed to get labour to do harvesting work and stuff? Has that been an issue for you?
A bit of both. So every year the ag sector goes more and more mechanical, effectively, more and more autonomous vehicles. That's just happening right across the Western world. But we do have a labour shortage in Dubbo. Now, it doesn't matter if you're a skilled worker, an unskilled worker, it doesn't matter the level of skills you got. Come to Dubbo and you're effectively going to get a job. If you're someone who's able-bodied and want to work, Dubbo has got work for you. That's why it makes me a little bit cranky out there when you've got governments all the time continuing just to throw out money when it comes to job seeker and all this sort of stuff, when you've got places like Dubbo that are crying out for workers, and highly paid work as well, I might put there. And, you know, it's all about Sydney and how bad it's doing in Sydney. Well, a lot of the cases, some people, if they can't get a job where they are, move. And Dubbo has employment opportunities now for all skills.
Terrific. Look, I'm going to have a word to Paul Murray and Chris Kenny. They're fit, tanned and ready, and they could use the workout, I reckon, last time I saw them. But just one final point. You're talking about the tourism prospects. How do you feel about an influx of folks from Sydney and Greater Sydney? Are you concerned at all about a mini cluster happening there? I know Orange had a reported case, but you're sounding pretty optimistic. You're welcoming, you're open for business and looking forward to it?
Yeah, look, people, just follow the rules. If you come to Dubbo, look, make sure you're socially distanced, make sure, you know, when you're shopping, keep, you know, that distance away, make sure you sanitise your hands and log in when you're going to places. And if everyone does that, welcome, come to Dubbo, spend your money here, we'll certainly take your coins, no problem at all. So, but as long as everyone follows the rules and do it diligently, there shouldn't be any problems. In fact, I welcome people to Dubbo.